Hi, my name is John, and I'm with Good Burger Reviews, and I'm here to do a brand new 2025 movie review, and the movie's called Drop.
Why do you keep sending me these?
You gotta be within 50 feet to send a drop. It's someone in the restaurant. Violet, everything okay?
How's this date going? First date jitters.
No, you're killing it.
Drop was released in April of 2025. It's produced by Blumhouse, Platinum Dunes, and Universal. It's directed by Christopher Landon. It's starring Megan Fahey, Brandon Schlennel, Violet Bean, Reed Diamond, Jeffrey Self, and Gabriel Ryan. And forgive me, Brandon, because I know I murdered your last name, but there's too many consonants in there for me to figure out how to say that. Basic premise. While on a first date, Violet is the target through a mysterious messenger who threatens to kill her son if she doesn't murder her date. First thing I would like to say is I'm going to do my best to try and keep this one a spoiler-free review. I feel like this one is, when you go into it, the less that you know about it. I was lucky enough not to see any previews. I read the very basic premise, so it got me intrigued enough to want to watch it. It was listed as horror. However, I felt like it was more of an action thriller horror with a romantic comedy blend. And there seems to be a lot of that this year. We've had two romantic thriller horror movies already with Hard Eyes and Companion, and now Drop. And Blumhouse is behind this, along with Universal and Platinum Dunes, but I thought they're really stepping up their game, Blumhouse is, because compared to 2024, Blumhouse is coming out the gate pretty decent. So the basic setting in this movie, the majority of the movie takes place in this high-class, fine dining restaurant at the top of a skyscraper in Chicago. And I thought, what a great setting for this type of film and this type of premise. It was beautifully filmed, beautiful restaurant, beautiful sights. Everything about it was just, was amazing. I loved the cinematography, the pictures, the camera work, everything that they did to set the atmosphere, to set the stage for what we were about to get engaged with these characters. One thing I really liked about this, it was one of those smart thrillers. And I know we get a lot of smart thrillers. They've been around a long time, but this one is definitely a standout. The smartness of what's going on and the cleverness of what the characters get into, as far as she's on a first date and she's getting a messenger from somebody in the restaurant. It's clear that it's someone in the restaurant is involved because they're airdrop messages, hence the title, Drop. And they're threatening to kill her son, who's at home being babysat by her sister. And she can see through her video cameras on her phone that, yes, someone indeed is actually in her house. And this sets the stage for a very frightening night because, all the typical scary thriller things are going on. She's told, don't say anything. Don't try to call 911. Don't reach out to your date. Don't spill the beans to anyone in the restaurant. So one part that reminded me of Scream was, it was a murder mystery, and I wasn't expecting this to be like a murder mystery or a mystery of who's behind all of this going on. And they did a great job setting the stage for suspects.
They watch prom night, they'd save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Everyone's a suspect up in this restaurant, and there's characters floating around in this restaurant. Some of them seem to be prime suspects. Other ones seem to be innocent. And you're just wondering, is this going to flip? Is it someone that you're not suspecting is going to be behind all this? There's a waiter, there's a maitre d', there's a bartender, there's other people at the restaurant, people who are on blind dates, and all this other stuff going on as well. And just a few very suspicious characters who are lurking in the shadows in this one. And those of you who have been watching some of my reviews, that you know that like lately I've been having this complaint of the side characters being pointless or fodder. And the side characters here, you know, they are clearly side characters. There's multiple suspects of people up on this restaurant who are behind what's going on. But these side characters all had a point, and they progressed the plot. I just thought it was so smartly done and smartly written with all the characters, but including the side characters. I thought the acting done by the two main leads, which is the girl and the guy on the date, Violet and Henry, and I thought they did a great job of in each of their roles, each being a little bit mysterious, having something to hide, but also having that whole first date thing going on, the whole budding romance thing going on, but yet all the anxiety that's being built up between the two of them of, you know, why they're targeted for this thing, for this to happen to them. So on the positives, I thought this was directed well, it paces well. The story is believable for what the premise that they have going on. It does a great job at creating intrigue, mystery, tension, blending it with drama and comedy. And the comedy didn't take away from the drama, and the drama and the comedy didn't take away from the thrilling part, the horror part. It was more of a thrill, less of a horror, even though this was labeled as horror. Everything was, like I say, one of those great blends of all those categories in this movie. A little bit about what I'm mixed about. So the only thing, and this has been a common thing that I've been mixed about on a few movies recently that I've seen. I just mentioned it in Woman in the Yard. I mentioned it in 825 Forest Road. But of course, our main character, Violet, is grief-stricken. Her husband has died recently, and she's on her first date since then. She's also a single parent, which we had that going on in Woman in the Yard, and Death of a Unicorn. So another single parent grieving story. So, I mean, is that trope getting a little redundant this year? Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, it's something that people can get engaged with. So that's where it's a mix. So it's a good topic. I just don't want to see it get too overdone. So the only negative I have, and this is a common negative that falls into these super thrilling, smart thrillers that are out there. You know, it's a great premise with this thing going on with, you know, she's got a home invader, someone's watching her at the restaurant, and they're stalking her through cameras and phones and everything. And I just don't, at some points it's like, how are they tracking her through everything? Like in one spot where she's in the ladies' room and they're still on top of her every move. And I think sometimes there's a little bit of, I guess, suspension of disbelief with those parts that, you know, maybe the people behind the murder mystery are not this smart, but they are. I mean, they do pull it off. And the other part is some of the decisions our main character makes with her son's life being on the line. I mean, the movie runs an hour and 40 something long, and you know, they have to stretch it out that long, that she's fighting this whole idea of my son's at home about to be killed and I gotta kill this guy that I'm on a date with. And let's just say there's lots of opportunities where I thought she should have done it by now, because I'm thinking if I was a parent and my kid was at home and being stalked by a killer, I would be like, yeah, let's get this poison in your food already, because I'm not risking my kid's life. But, you know, if she would have killed him off in the first scene, we would have no movie. Even in the last act, there are a few things that it's like suspension of disbelief on, is this possible? For example, once she does break out of the restaurant and is on to the next location, you know, she gets there quite fast, and I thought she didn't even call the cops in that time. But maybe she didn't have her phone. I think they may have smashed her phone, but you know, we live in a cell phone age. I'm sure she could have gotten a hold of a phone. But I mean, these are just little nitpicks and negatives. I mean, so let's get down to business on this one before I start trying to talk spoilers. And I'm going to tell you two things that were said to me in the movie theater to give you opposite sides of people's opinions. So I went to see this one again with my youngest son, and he's in the theater and he's totally engaged, and I could tell he's loving it. And he says, as we're leaving, Dad, I love this even better than Die Hard. And of course, we're big Die Hard fans. We've watched Die Hard together. And, of course I had to show him Die Hard. But he loves Die Hard. He loves Bruce Willis just as I do. And he said, it's better than Die Hard. I'm like, it's not better than Die Hard, but I'm really liking this one, kiddo. And then there was this lady, a random older lady, and quite old to be honest, in the theater by herself. And I thought, what made her decide on a Saturday afternoon to go see this one? But she did, but her comment made me die of laughter because she was flat out like, this was the most terriblest movie of the year, the most terriblest movie I've ever seen in my whole life. And I'm sitting there looking at her and thinking, you've lived a long life. That means you think this is pretty bad if you've seen a lot of movies in your lifetime. But the question is, what did I think about it? So what did I think about it? Well, at the end of the day, I really did like this one. It's not better than Die Hard, the original Die Hard, but it definitely is in the running for best movie of the year right now, which means it's another cheeseburger in paradise. Happy to say, to report on this one, and the reason I wanted to keep this spoiler free is because it really is a great movie. A great movie. It's intense, it's exciting, it's funny, it's heartwarming in parts. It's worth a watch. So go out and go see it if you haven't seen it already. It's worth the price of admission in a movie ticket, And I just thought it was a great blend of all those things. Before I drone on and on and on about this one, please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comments if you have anything you'd like to say, whether you went out and saw this movie, something you liked about it. If you do decide to make a comment and it's a spoiler comment, please be courteous to our friends in the comment section and put a spoiler alert. I will at some point probably get into spoilers on another video, maybe in the second quarter wrap up or whatever, but I will want to talk about this one again.
911, what's your emergency?
Hi, my son is being held.